Welcome back to the program. So joining me now is a delightful lady. Her name is Gail Lukasik, and she has quite a story to tell that proves to the world we are all interrelated and interconnected, and we should get over the hangups of race. Gail Lukasik joins me now. She is the author of the book White Like Her. Gail, thank you for joining me today. What an incredible story your life has. Tell me about discovering the race and ethnicity of your mother. What was that like?
First of all, thank you for having me on your show. I'm delighted to be here. I made this discovery, the initial discovery, in 1995. And if I can give you a little backstory on this, my paternal grandfather, Azima Frederick, was my mystery man. My mother had no photographs of him, and every time I asked her about her father, she would say something like, well, you know, my parents were divorced when I was 6, and I did not grow up with him, so I can't tell you much. Well, he always remained in the back of my mind because I was curious about him. I want to know about him. So in 1995, as you know, that's before Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
And the internet. I didn't have a lot of access to the internet. So I went to our local family history center and started going through census records. I had no birth date or death date. When I finally got to the 1900 Louisiana census records, I found Azima Frederick. And next, he was 3 years old. Next to all the Fredericks' names was the letter B. And when I went up to see what that column was, that was for race. So that was my first surprise. I had no idea.
You had no idea.
I had no idea.
All those years, your mother had kept this secret that she was, in fact, Black, or back then, it would have registered her as being colored.
Absolutely.
Were you shocked?
I was, yes. I actually left the center. I had a very unpleasant encounter with the woman who ran the center, because when I went to ask her if B stood for Black, she said, oh, yes, it does. And then she let loose with what she thought were funny racial slurs.
Oh.
Using the N-word. And there I am standing, not knowing what's going on. So I got out of there pretty quickly and sat in my car. I actually looked in my rearview mirror at myself and I thought, I don't know who I am.
Wow.
I have no idea if this is true. What just happened?
Yeah.
So what I did, I didn't want to call my mother right away. She lives in Ohio. I live in Illinois. I wanted to do a little more research. I'm a researcher. So what I did is I pretended I was my mother. And I wrote to the state of Louisiana and I said, I lost my birth certificate. And so they sent me back my mother's birth certificate, and there were 3 letters for her race. And you probably can guess what they were.
Yeah.
C-O-L.
Yeah.
Or colored. But I wasn't done. So I thought, I want the state to tell me what that means to them. So I wrote another letter and said, I'm a little confused. What do these 3 letters mean? So I got a very official letter from the state of Louisiana with a big seal on it and everything. And what they said was, COL stands for a person of color, in most cases of African heritage. So I had all this evidence before I spoke with her.
And that conversation with your mother, how did that go?
Oh, that was that was my other big surprise, my next big surprise. I knew I couldn't have this conversation on the telephone. So unfortunately, my dad got very ill and I wanted to wait. It was not the right time. Yeah. So after he died, I invited my mother to visit me in Illinois. I sat her down and I said, Mom, I have your birth certificate. It says COL for colored. Talk to me about this. And she denied it. She said, I don't know what birth certificate you have, but mine says I'm white. So, she's wily. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. So I said, Mom, I have a letter from the state. I have these other documents. I can go get them for you if you like to see them. She got very quiet. And she was sitting in this big green chair. It was almost like she was shrinking into the chair.
Oh, wow.
And then she looked at me and she said, and this was so shocking, how can I hold my head up with my friends if they know? You have to promise me you will tell no one until after I die. Wow. I tried to talk her out of it. She was having none of it. And I kept her secret for 17 years.
We're coming back with much more after the break. What did you go through in terms of understanding who you are and what it means to you in moving forward?
Well, it was quite a process. Initially, there's the shock value. And I did tell my husband, and I have 2 children, I told them about what I discovered, and they were cool with it, And, life goes on. So over those 17 years, I would try to bring the subject up with her again. And she would say something like, well, Gail, how are the kids? So she just didn't want to talk. And then, Ancestry came out. I continued some research into that. But, it wasn't at the core center of my life. I was teaching, I was writing. There were other things going on. So my mom passed away in April of 2014. And a very serendipitous thing happened. I just feel there's something guiding me through this, and something that I have no control over, something spiritual. 3 months after her death, my husband, by chance, finds in our local library newsletter that Genealogy Roadshow is looking for stories from New Orleans, where my mother's from. So my husband says, you have to apply. You just have to. We need to know what your true heritage is. So I did, and I was on the show. And it was confirmed that my mother was mixed race. They had all the documents. It was an amazing experience. And I knew then, after I'd been on the show, that I was going to write a book. I'm a writer. That's what I do. But another very, very shocking thing happened after I was on the show. As you know, they taped in August of 2014, but that didn't come out until January of 2015. So anyway, it aired on a Tuesday. I got up on Friday morning, as I do every morning with my coffee, and look at my emails. And I see I have an email from a person named Stephanie Frederick.
Yeah.
Now, Frederick is my mother's maiden name. It was like, what? So I started reading her email, and she said, I watched the show, and I want to tell you that my father is Azima Frederick. He is your mother's half-brother. I'm your cousin, and I want to welcome you to our family.
Wow.
I sat there and tears coursed down my face, because at that moment, every aunt and uncle I've ever known was dead. My parents were dead. And now I have a cousin and an uncle.
It's a touching story, an amazing story. When you look back on your mother's life, do you think she had any regrets in keeping this secret and for passing as white all those years, or were you able to give her peace of mind that regardless of the color of her skin, you were still her daughter and you loved her?
Regrets.
She had regrets.
Here's what she said to me. This is shortly before her death. I said, well, Mom, how are you feeling? I went to see her, and she said, well, I have some regrets. And I said, well, what are they? And she said, I don't want to talk about them. But she knows that I kept that secret for her, that I honored what she wanted. It wouldn't have been my way, but that was not my secret. So I had to be her daughter. She knew I had her back. Let's put it that way.
We're coming back with much more after the break. Incredible story. And God bless you for bringing it forward and revealing it. And also, God bless you for keeping your mother's secret, although I think you would have liked to let her find that courage to let it out. But, the love that you have for your mother and for your family and the family that you've embraced, it's so refreshing to hear this kind of story, to remind us in this country that I keep coming back to, we all are interrelated, interconnected, and we've lost sight of that in so many areas of life right now because of the polarization in this country. And I just appreciate your story. And I understand your book is coming out again in February as a paperback.
Yes, as a paperback. It will be out in February 2021. I'm very excited about that. And I thought maybe Stephanie was going to jump on with us, but let me just say that another piece of good news is that her company has optioned White Like Her for either a TV dramatic series or a film.
Incredible story, Gail. Thank you for bringing it to light. And stay in touch with us, especially as that option turns into a reality and a good movie about your life and your mother's life. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you for giving this opportunity to tell it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The book is called White Like Her, Gail Lukasik. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're coming back with more after this.